Right, let's get back to the damned arm swings. So if you didn't watch the Tuesday practice session, you'll be coming in the middle, so you might want to review that one as well. But let's just use this warm-up time to get the arms really relaxed, letting go, swinging, following the movement of the body. So go ahead and keep changing feet. As you step into the back foot, that's the impetus. You shift and turn, the arm swings as a result of the movement of the body, not because you're doing it in your arm. This is an exploration of how the movement plays out through the body, from the center, from shifting and turning, and really letting go of all the extra effort. We tend to think, now we don't know we think this, but we tend to think that if we don't hold our arms in, they're going to fall off. We've gone around and tugged on many an arm. It's never fallen off. So you can, you can really let it go. You don't have to hold it in. And part of the challenge of this is noticing how much we all have this desire to hold our arms into the sockets. They don't need to be held in. Let them go. This can be very challenging, but do try, because it's a really nice feeling and it will help you soften and relax your whole body and understand what it means to let the internal determine the external. So just remember, you're stepping to a corner. You're not turning too far. Your arm is swinging in a flat plane from your torso. You're not letting it get away from you in either the pulling back dimension or in the turning into dimension. Just let it go. As the arm drops, the weight shifts, and as the arm comes back, the body is following it. So it becomes a question of, can you pay close enough attention to what's happening? You set your arm in motion. It's moving. You're not controlling it. You're not deciding when to let it swing. It's following the movement that comes from the center, that comes from shifting and turning. When you hit bottom with your arm, you're also hitting bottom in that foot. So that's part of the timing that you can look for. Another is that the arm doesn't stop and wait for you to get your body arranged around it. It's just in motion and your body is following it. It gives the impetus for the swing and it follows the swing back. Let the arm fall so that if you did not follow it back and you didn't shift, it would just fall right back into your body. So that's the quality of looseness and letting go that we're looking for in the arms. So this is a precursor to getting you to turning the hand over, but I want us to just warm up first with the arm swinging without having anything else to do except set it in motion, follow it back. It swings, it falls, you follow it, and keep it moving. So we'll do this a little bit more on each side. As you know, we encourage you to play with this on your own. Change sides if you haven't already. Letting the arm swing freely and following that movement so that the whole body is moving together, but not in lockstep. It plays out, it falls back. Okay, and rest your legs. Let's just do a first third to get back into the form and try to bring that same quality of looseness in the arms, and then we'll explore this little exercise a little further. And go. Letting your arms go. Letting the arm follow the movement. Trusting that it will do the right thing if you keep it connected to your center. Okay, so getting this arm to swing, turn over, and come back. So that's the next piece we want to look at. So let's just get it swinging a little bit. We can do one side a little, and then we can do the other side. And what I want you to do is give it about 3 swings so that you get your body and your arm moving together. And this next time, keep turning as it turns over. So let me do it facing this way. It swings, it falls back. It swings up, it falls back. It swings up, it doesn't go too high, just about 45 degrees. This is staying flat. Then you turn toward it. That arm turns over and comes with you. Do it on the other side. Stepping to the corner, shifting, turning no further than the corner, letting the arm just go and swing with the body. And now this time go a little further and let it turn over. And again. Swing, follow it back. It swings up, it falls, you follow it. Swings, comes back. Now this time, as it swings, you turn toward it and urge it to turn over. So rest your legs a sec. And the key to getting it to turn over, we talked about how the body opens to a place like this, and then you turn a little further toward it as it's swinging up, and let there be a little idea in the fingertips that makes the hand come over, so that it's not stuck here and then trying to move in this direction where it's just coming toward the body. Let it, as it comes up, think about the fingertips coming over and leading it back. So do this a little bit more. Swing it 3 times. Make sure that it's going through the elbow, through the whole arm. And then the next time, it comes up and over. So do this on your own time a little bit. Turn toward it a little more and bring it back with you. And you can change sides. Make sure you're not going past the corner. There's not very far for you to go. You want to save a little bit more of the turn. You're not turning as far as you possibly can because you want to save a little bit more of that turn for the moment that you turn it over, that you catch it and bring it back with you. The arm is just swinging. It doesn't know. Your mind knows where you're going to take it, but the arm is not taking over. It's not deciding. You turn toward it, you urge it back into position. So when we were doing this on Tuesday, I said, just try and get it to turn over. I don't care where it lands. And just trying to get it to turn over anywhere that doesn't involve effort, and just to get the belief that you really truly can without forcing it from localized arm muscle, that you can urge your arm to change without a lot of force and changing it at the arm itself. Now that you, we hope, have a sense of that, let's look at where it really needs to land to. So, this place here, pretty close to my chest, maybe a fist's width, if you will. The fingers are pointing at my center. The thing that happens is that I'm in the corner, my center's in the corner, my hand has folded over, it's pointing out where I'm going to end up, and it's along the same plane as my chest. It has not folded over out here. See how this is a different plane? And, by the way, I'm not as far turned to the corner. I'm not actually in the corner now. So you go to the corner, you go past the corner, you come back to the corner, and your arm lands here by the chest. So just try doing that much, and then we'll take it the next step. So corner, go ahead and swing them a few times if you need to get that arm really letting go. And then one time you turn further and just come back to the corner. You should be standing in your corner, doesn't matter if it doesn't line up with the room, and the arm has folded over and it's running pretty much the same parallel to your chest. So you don't have to be in a hurry. You don't have to be anxious about it. Be with your hand as it falls back. Be with it as it goes out, and then turn toward it and urge it to come back with you to the corner. Following the hand as it swings back, swings up, swings back. You're staying with it, and then one time you turn further and come back to the corner. The hand ends up by your chest. So we were looking at how it's really this motion of the hips that turns the hand over. Remember, Lee had us doing this, where then you'd take hold of your hips, go past the corner and back to the corner. There's a little curly cue that your hips can make. It's been known as the special moment in the hips. So you come to the corner, you go past the corner and back to the corner. That little special moment of going a little further and returning. You can't stop at the place that you go further to. You can stop in the corner, which is why I keep saying make sure you're going to the corner. You can stop in the corner, and you can stop when you come back to the corner, but in that special moment, you're actually turning the corner, and you should not stop there. That will take away all the action that's going on. So check this out. Come back to this feeling of the swinging the arms, and that when you get to the corner, you go past the corner and back to the corner, and feel how that plays out into your hand as it turns over. So just do this a few times on your own. See if you can't get this feeling. You go to the corner, the arm swings up, it swings back. The arm is just following the impetus and gravity. And then one time you turn more, and you'd give it that special moment that brings it over. Do it on the other side if you haven't already changed. And really notice that moment in the hips. The hips go past the corner, back to the corner, bring the arm with it. So when we talk about the motion playing out from the center to the edges, it's not just your arms, it's also your feet. So there's a moment when the hips do this that frees the front leg. So when you do your special moment in the hips, notice how that can take your foot off the ground as well. So let's give this a little try. So you're just swinging and swinging, and then there's a moment that you go past the corner and feel how that empties your front leg. So do it on both sides. Feeling that when you go past the corner, you free your leg as well as have it turn your arm over. When you come back, you have not come back to the front. You're going corner, past the corner, back to the corner. And all this stuff happens because the center makes a little change, and that change plays out into the whole body. So I wonder if you could even just, do your turning corner, back, corner, and back. And then corner past the corner, feel it free your leg. corner and back, corner and back, corner and back. Now this time, past the corner, feel how that frees your leg and actually urges it to step as you return back to the corner. So that's how this works in playing out into your leg as well as your hand. So if we put this all together, it would be something like this. So see if you can get corner past the corner, frees the leg, helps it step at the same time that this hand turns over. Because we can't micromanage hands and feet. If you just, and you can try this, just, try to make it so that you turn your hand over and step at the same time, and it's really hard to make those happen in an organic and playing out synchronized way. It's too much. You can't micromanage all these parts. Your hand, your foot. It's hard to make things happen out at the edges. What you need to do is get the center as the driving force of it all, and then when the center changes, the extremities also change. So I'll do it in this direction a little bit. Go ahead, get yourself swinging. I like to do 3 times of swinging, and then on the 4th time change, you can do whatever you want, but do past the corner, back to the corner. See if you can't make everything come together. Do it on the same side a couple of times. Corner, past the corner, back to the corner, footsteps too. Of course, the footsteps weightless. You have not shifted, but all this stuff plays out. And all the things we've talked about with how you step, where the knee becomes buoyant and then the foot just follows, the same thing happens here. You have to start by releasing at the hip joint, which when you've shifted into your back leg, your hip joint, this whole leg should be empty, not just the foot, but actually free from the socket on down. So as you do that, each time now while you're swinging, really try to feel that you've let go of holding on to your empty leg as well. And then see how that helps it play out into the foot. So this may be a little hard to find, but we're trying to just give you the direction to be exploring it in. Notice I'm not even talking about the other hand. We can look at that some other time. If we can just get this feeling of past the corner, back to the corner, and everything happens together. The step and the folding over of the arm, and you're still in the corner, so that then you can complete the move. I'll do it on the other side. Swing. Get with your arm. Past the corner, back to the corner. Everything happens together. The arm is not anxious about what's going to happen, and neither is your foot. You let it go, and then one time you change underneath it, and everything just happens. And do this on the other side if you haven't switched back and forth enough. Changing underneath it, corner, past the corner, and the step. When you step, notice that you're not just stepping in place, but that return, what happens to the hips is I go corner, past the corner, and when I come back to the corner, because my leg is free and I'm going to step with the heel, right? You might be up on the ball at this point, but when it's time to step, you step heel first. That last little playing out, let it be a step that's going to give you shoulder width. It should feel more dynamic than just replacing it right in front of you. Once you go from ball to heel, there's a little room for you to expand and step shoulder width. So that's the next piece of this, is making sure that that step actually goes to where you want your foot to land so that you'll be in a good 70-30 when you complete the move. So you're up on the ball, you go past the corner, come back to the corner, and the heel takes a step, and you can just double check that you've given yourself some width. And on the other side a little bit. Corner past the corner, steps with the heel. You're still in the corner. Your fingers are pointing toward the center. So then there's one last little piece of this, and that is what happens from here. As you shift, you're coming into the front leg. Once you've got more weight in your front leg and you can release the back leg, it's as if something moves from your fingertips to down in your elbow. And then it comes out the palm. So the final posture then has a little bit of this. So I'll give it a shot. Swing a little bit. And then corner past the corner, back and shift, and let it play out to the palm. So remember, when it turns over, it's the fingertips that are the leading edge. Past the corner, fingertips, foot steps, shift, elbow, palm. So we'll do that a few times on each side, and then I'll turn this over to Lee and he'll give us some more. Past the corner, back to the corner, fingers, elbow, palm. It swings nice and easy. You're paying close attention to it. You're there with it. And then you complete the move. And once more on each side. On your own time. And back to the final posture. Past the corner, back to the corner, footsteps, heel first, shift, plays out to the palm. So keep exploring this feeling. It doesn't come just like that, but it's definitely worth giving yourself the time to really figure out how this works.
Great. So let's finish this thing up. I'm going to talk about the other arm and what has to happen with it. Now, when you're doing this arm swing exercise, it's got all of brush knee in it. So you'd like to get to a place where it all organically just happens, where you do one side, and then you do the other side. Along the way there's constant times when our skill and our timing isn't quite good enough, and so we start using force. And the thing that's incumbent on you practicing this is to notice those times when you use force and then back off. So the full choreography is probably something that will take multiple sessions of practicing on this to get. We're going to show it all to you here so that it's complete. But as you're working on it, not just in this hour-long practice session or doing this hour-long practice session multiple times, you'll need to back off when you find yourself forcing something and then try to add the next bit on and just keep that way. So that's why we start with just doing this swinging. Just doing the swinging. Palm up, thumb side leaving. Palm up, thumb side leading. And then we add in the turning over, where the waist turns further and comes back to the front and brings the hand over. So, you can do just that a lot of times until you really can skillfully, with right timing, turn your waist and have it bring the hand back. So, you want to work on that on both sides, really getting that to work. Then, when that's working well, you can add in the foot. So you turn it over as you come back the other foot steps. And so what you're going to find is while you do that you inevitably force something because now you've made it more complicated. So when you turn the waist further and you bring the hand back, then you'll find yourself just forcing the foot. Or when you turn the waist further, you'll find yourself, because you're thinking about the foot, forcing the hand. And so really notice when that happens and back off. Back off until it's as familiar as just shifting back and forth and letting the arms swing to turn the waist further and turn the hand over. And when turning the waist further to turn the hand over is as familiar as just letting the arms swing, then try to put the foot in and work on that till the foot stepping is just equally comfortable. And then when you've got that, do the shifting so that you follow and you get this drops to the elbow, comes out to the palm as it finishes. And then there's the other hand. And so what does the other hand do while this is going on? While the hand that goes with the rear leg is swinging, the front hand is coming up and out. So it comes up and out as you do this. So if you just did that side, you'd be dropping the hand. You'd swing it up and out, and then you'd drop it. And then what happens is as you turn further, the hand drops, palm down, and everything finishes together. So we talk about this sequencing that when you're doing brush knee, and if you start from white crane, the front hand is out, palm facing the body. As I turn my waist further, the palm is turning palm down, and as I come back to the corner, it's dropping, palm down right in front of me. Right, so the hand stays here with my center line and drops right down in front of me. And so in the sequencing, that's the first thing that happens. The hand drops, the other hand comes over, the foot steps, and all three of them arrive together. So that's what you're going for when you put this together, that the swinging drops, rear hand folds, front foot steps, you follow it, you shift forward. So let's try that. And this time we're just going to go for broke for a couple minutes so that you see it all. Like I said, you're going to have to keep taking this apart and working on the bits, bit by bit, until doing the full choreography doesn't build any extra tension, doesn't build any extra striving. So start with the left foot forward, the right palm is up, step and shift, the left hand swings, turn the waist further, the left hand drops, the right hand folds over, the left foot steps, shift forward, and now without a break, bring your feet together. Shift to the right, left palm turns up. Turn, dropping, stepping, Brush knee, shift forward. As you shift the weight, the palm turns up. So, paying attention to all of the bits here. And every part has this same without striving feel. Okay, so take a break for a second. Let me talk about the continuity from one side to the other, because that's a really important thing to get. When you reach the end of one of these brush knees, what you're going to do is step forward with your other foot. And so that's just, I've really come here and I've stepped forward. Now, as I shift the weight, I want the bottom palm to turn up. So just do that. Stand in either leg with the hand that goes with that leg, palm down, and the other foot's close to it. And shift the weight and have that palm turn up. Take your other hand, put it palm down by the leg that the weight is in. Shift the weight, have that hand turn palm up. Take the hand that goes with the leg where the weight is. Shift the weight, have that hand turn palm up. So when you get to the end of one of these brush knees, you bring your feet forward, you shift the weight, the palm turns up, and then you're ready to do the next one. Shift the weight, swing, front hand swings, drops, everything arrives, follow it into the 70-30. Palm up, swings, waist turns, everything comes forward. Palm up. Okay, so now the damned arm swings in their full glory. And I can't say this too many times. This is not about memorizing historical dance steps and practicing that until you can execute it in a group of people and enjoy a historic dance. This is an exercise that is about learning how the center actually moves all of the parts. And for the focus in this session and the previous session, we're really interested in how that moving the parts actually plays out through the parts. It doesn't all happen instantaneously. So there's a motion that you take in the center, and because we're in actual physical reality, the finite world, when you make a motion in the center, it takes time to get to the extremities. Now, it doesn't have to be a lot of time, but the motion here is not exactly synchronous with the motion in my hands. And so just do this. Take one of your hands and stick it out in front of you, and turn your waist and bring the hand exactly with you, right? So the two are just moving together. No delay. And now look what happened in the shoulder and the upper arm as you did that. You're holding here. The shoulder is not changing. The upper arm is tight in order to do that. Do it on the other side. The other hand, I'm putting my weight in the leg that goes with that hand. And turn waist and hand exactly together, right? As if the hand were on the end of a rigid rod that was welded to my body, so that they moved together. And when that happens, the shoulder is tight, the upper arm is tight. So now try having the hand out and turn and let that play out through the hand. So the body and the hand are not in exact synchronization, but the motion that happens in the hand is caused by the body. And so watch what's happening. Watch me do it for a second. My body turns and the shoulder is opening, and then that motion plays out through the hand, and then the hand catches up. So that now my body is turning towards the outside of the arm and the shoulder is closing, and then that motion plays out in the hand. So there's a waving back and forth between them. So now try this with me. You can shift back and forth as works. And notice that the hand's motion is delayed slightly and then the hand moves a little faster. Not because you're trying to catch it up, but because that's how the motion plays out into the hands. The body starts, it takes a little while to get out into the fingertips, and it comes back. The body starts, takes a little while to come out into the fingertips, and then it comes back. So that's the characteristic of actually causing the motion in the extremities, the hands and the feet, from the center, as opposed to coordinating the motion in the extremities with the center. Now, when you start, you have to coordinate. Because your body isn't balanced well enough for these small, subtle, energetic directions coming from the center to actually play out to the balanced hand. So if you don't have this, what will happen is you leave your hand behind and you turn, and it'll get so far that tension builds, and now the hand won't come with you. So what you need is this is all balanced so that the turn plays out into the hand and it actually comes with you. To get to that, you've got to start moving it together so that you're in the ballpark, so that you're close enough that you don't become disordered, so that you're not discombobulated. We want to be combobulated. We want to stay ordered. And so you start by synchronizing the motion of the extremities with the waist. And that shows you roughly what the movements are. But with time, what you'll notice is that's built tension. That's built tension in the shoulders, chest, arms, waist, down through the legs. And so as you start letting go of that tension, then you'll start to be able to find this playing out. And we can't do the arm swings too many times because they really let you see this. And working on the arm swings will really teach you a lot about these places where you change direction. And how do you change direction so that, again, it's not all in sync? The hand is not coming back to the front as the waist comes back to the front, because if you do that, you have to tighten. So what happens is the waist motion makes one motion, and the hand motion follows that with a very slight delay. So I want to look at another couple delays so that you can get this feeling, and then we'll spend some time on the single whip. And so one of the delays is in the legs, right when you're coming from push into single whip. So if I'm in push and I sit back and I turn, as I turn, my waist turns and then my foot comes with me. So I don't sit back and turn and have the foot come exactly with me. That's like what we were doing with the hand staying exactly with you. That'll require tension in the leg. So let's try that out a little bit. So start out from push. I'll face you and Beth will face some other direction. So sit back and now turn your waist and feel how that doesn't immediately bring the foot. As you're doing that, there's a slight stretch and tautness that you'll feel across the hip. And at some point, that will then bring the foot with it. And so do that again. I don't care if you do the arms or not. That can help to know where you are. You turn, and then the foot comes with you. And do that once more. Sit back, turn, allow that to open the front hip joint, slight feeling of tautness, let the foot come with you. Now do it in lockstep. Sit back, pick the ball of the foot up, and turn, everything staying together. And do that again. And while you're doing that, really check out what's happening in your leg. Really try to find the tension that you're putting in the leg and the foot in order to keep it in exact sync. So sit back, pick the ball of the foot up, and turn, keeping it exactly with you. And now, once more, letting the foot come with you at the proper time. Sit back, turn, slight stretching, and then the foot comes with you. So one thing that's key here is that the foot doesn't do either of the two errors. It doesn't get rigidified and tied to your body, welded to the body, and it doesn't become disordered and separate from the body, no longer responding to the signals you're sending. It doesn't move at exactly the same pace. When it's tied to me, it moves exactly the same. And one of the things that you'll probably notice is that makes single whip really difficult, because my waist is only going to turn so far, and I'd really like my foot to turn further so that I've got a chance at making that next big step. But in order to get the foot to turn further, in that scenario, I'll have to force it. When you let the foot follow this way, and you turn and the foot doesn't come, and then the foot turns, it will turn further. And it will turn at a different speed than the waist. The waist is turning at a constant speed here, and the foot delays and then turns actually faster than my waist. And look how the foot turns further than my waist. My foot is all the way over to the wall. My waist is not. I'd have to be all the way over here. So you can get the foot to turn further without forcing it and without making it, go by doing this. So try it a couple more times. You in, push. You sit back and turn. Feel that slight delay. Feel the foot give. Once more. Sit back. Turn, slight delay. Foot gives. So when we're doing this stuff, you're going to find these little bits of delay, which is interesting. If you try to force them, it doesn't work. You can't, I could simulate it, sit back, turn, move my foot, keep turning. Not Tai Chi. If you've gotten this far, you're not going to like doing that, so you won't do it. But you will find all the way through the form these places where it takes time for that motion, that signal, that energy coming from the center to make its way out to the extremity. And so a motion that I made initially will then play out through the leg. It takes time to get there and cause the foot to step. Or a motion that I made initially here will then play out through the leg and cause the foot to turn. And that's actually one of the great things about doing practice this way, is getting to watch the blossoming of the motion that you made inside as it reaches the extremities. Of course, this is true in the hands and arms too. All right, so when we first teach you single whip, you sit back, your fingers are right in front of your shoulders, and you turn and you keep them right in front of your shoulders all the way. And so that will lead to you moving the hands. I'm trying to have the hands here. I'm going to move my hands and keep them in sync with me. And just like what we were doing with this, when you do that, then you're going to tighten the shoulders and the arm. So, same thing happens. I sit back, I turn a little bit, and then that slight turn in the arms, then like water rushing out to the tip of my arms, rushes out all the way to the fingers. So the hands will delay slightly, and then they'll come with you. There's some people who will work this. Will you take push, please? Who will work this. Beth sits back, and I grab her arms, and she turns against them. Go ahead. And builds up some tension inside there, and then I release that tension, and then her hands go. The danger with doing that is exactly what happened to Beth, where she got hard, right? So as I do this, as I sit back, she wants to just hold on to my arms so that I can get this feeling here of turning against them. But I'm not actually very fond of this, because when you do that, then people will tighten and work against the force. So this idea that there's a slight, someone's holding onto your fingers just a little bit, and I have to turn so that then they can be released. You want to have that idea, but don't get too hung up on working against force, because that'll build force inside of yourself too. And so do this again with me. Start from push, sit back, turn, and then feel that motion play out into the hands and the feet. And do that again. Sit back, and turn. Feel that motion play out into the hands and feet. And now this will bring one of the things that happens in single whip. So this is all two-edged swords. The danger with doing this is that people will do this and move their hands farther than their waist went. And so this used to be particularly problematic with Baton, whose hips were so open. And so students would watch him turning. That's how far I can turn. Baton would get turned even further. You might have seen that I moved my foot in order to do that. And so students wouldn't see that it was his hips, his waist that was just turning. What they would see is that his hands went from one corner all the way to the other corner. And so then what students would do would be this, where they move their hands across their body. So to keep people from doing that, we rigidify. We hold the fingers in front of the shoulders, and we stop you here, and we want your hands to still be exactly in front of your shoulders so that you didn't do anything extra. Now, they don't actually stay exactly in front of your shoulders. Just like this thing where you're waving the arm, and the arm will actually move a little further. But you have to do that without making the arm go. So when I do this, I sit back and I turn. At the end here, I stopped. You can see my hands are not exactly in front of my shoulder. They've come across it just a little bit. Looks like Beth is going to illustrate. Yeah, so you see that would be putting them right in front of the shoulders. Now, that happened because they're loose, not because I put them there. So if you finish this video and then you put your hands there, don't do that. And don't think that's what we taught you to do. What we want you to do is to sit back, have the hands so loose that they come a little further. And also watch what's happening. My hands are not staying at exactly the same height. As I sit back and I turn, there's this slight tautness in the foot. That releases and the hands turn a little further, and they're going to drop. They drop a little bit to the side. They're not at exactly the same height. I'm not pushing them down. I'm not coming back here and pushing my hands down. I'm letting this turn and release. And as that happens, all of my weight, my awareness, my energy is all going down into the bottom of my left foot. So do this with me. Sit back, turn, feel the front foot delayed, feel everything give, and feel yourself hit the bottom of your left foot just as you let the hands drop a little bit. Do that again. Sit back, turn, release, bottom of the left foot. Now, what happens next is from the bottom of your left foot, there's an energy that comes up through the body, and you aim it into the right elbow. So there's an elbow strike in the middle of shoulder strike here. Bottom of the foot into the elbow. Now, I don't want you to become Jack in the Boxes. I don't want to see you doing this. And it's to avoid people doing that, which is why we don't tend to talk about this very much. But from this place here, you sit back and you turn all the awareness down on the bottom of the foot, and now it comes up through the body, and you aim it into the right elbow. And that impetus, that trigger that happened in the foot, and the motion coming through the body, the waist directs it into the elbow, and the side effect of this is going to be that you shift till you're like 50-50 in the right leg. So give that much a try. Sit back, turn, let the hands follow, feel the ground, come through the body into the elbow, and now gather everything down into your right foot. And as you do that, the waist continues to turn, and the waist continuing to turn will play out into the fingers. This is another one of these things where you don't pull the fingers together, you don't try to manage it so that the fingers exactly close as you finish. What you do is you let that coming down into the foot play out into the fingers. So there's going to be all these weird little delays. There's the delay of the foot turning, and then its release, and as it releases right as it finishes, you've hit the bottom of that foot. There's the delay in the arms, and then it releases, and you feel the bottom of that foot. So all that stuff happens together. Now you come through the body into the elbow, and now you come down into the bottom of your right foot. And as you do that, that continues to turn you, brings the other hand underneath it, and brings the fingers together as the playing out of all of that motion. So let's do that a couple more times just there. We'll go all the way through to single whip, and then maybe we'll do 2 first thirds, where you've got a chance to watch some of this playing out happening other places. From push, sit back, turn, feel that play out into hands and foot, bottom of the left foot, through the body to the right elbow, gathering into the right foot, closes the hook, turn, extend, step, single whip. Again, from push. Oh, yeah. So Beth is reminding me to make it clear that after the elbow strike, it doesn't stay in the elbow. So as I do this and I come into the elbow, that's transient. If you read the songs of the 8 hand methods, the song of elbow strike, says it comes and goes. It appears during transitions. It flowers suddenly and then it's gone. So you want to make sure you don't stay in the elbow there. As I do this, I'm in the elbow, and then I release the elbow. And see how here at the end my elbow is pointed down. If you stayed in the elbow, what would happen is you'd end up here. No, man, I'm still in the elbow, and not only is that uncomfortable, but it looks horrible. So the elbow strikes appear and disappear suddenly in the midst of transitions. You don't ever hold on to it. So while you're doing this, I turn, I gather, I come through the body to the elbow, and now I'm done. Now I'm doing something new. When I get to here, my awareness is not in the elbow particularly. It's much more in the hand that I'm getting set to come out with for the extending the hook. Thank you. Okay, I wanted to do that a couple times in a row, and I forgot that important detail. So let's try it now a couple times in a row. Okay, so sitting back, turning, release, bottom of the foot, elbow, release, bottom of the foot, out into the hook and step, single whip. Again. We'll do it twice more. I won't talk this time. Go ahead. And one last time. From push, sit back, turn. The arms and the foot are very slightly delayed. You release them. Bottom of the left foot through the body to the elbow. Release down into the right foot. Extend through the body out to the hook. And step. Single whip. Okay, so I want to identify one more place where this kind of playing out happens, and then we'll do a couple first thirds. And this one is at the very end here. All right, so I've just done the punch, and I do the second push, and I sit back, and now as I turn, the same thing happens in this right hand. As I turn, it comes through and it plays out into the hand. And this is a place where it's really tempting to sit back, rigidify the hand, and just turn so that nothing happened in the shoulder and nothing happened in the arm. So give that a try with me. Take it from the push at the end of the form. You've just done the punch, withdraw and push. Sit back, and now turn and feel how the motion plays out into the right hand. It reaches the fingertips just as you get to this, like a W, not a diamond place. Again, sit back, turn, Feel it play out into the right hand. For bonus points, notice that your left foot doesn't turn in lockstep as you do this. You'll have the same problem with single whip. You won't be able to get it all the way around to the front without forcing. Instead, what you do is as you start turning, you're turning away from the foot, and then the foot releases and comes with you so that it's actually ready to, be there for you for the cross hands. So again, sit back, turn, feel the motion play out into the right hand and the left foot. Again, sit back, turn, feel it play out into the hand and foot. Rigidify this time. Everything perfectly in sync. Make it work. Sit back, pick up the ball, the foot, and turn, keeping the hand with you. Feel how much more rigid that is. Do that again, and really study the rigidity in the shoulder and the arm and the rigidity in the left leg. Sit back, pick up the ball of the left foot, turn, keeping everything exactly in lockstep. All right? This is great for a beginner. Okay, once more, letting everything go. Sit back, turn, the motion plays out through the hands and foot. Okay, so every single move is like this. So let's do 2 first thirds, and I want you to notice all of that. We've worked on a bunch of stuff. We just worked on at the end of it. We worked on push into single whip. We've worked on the brush knees. The same action happens in roll back with the waist turning further and coming back as you go into press. So you'll have the same thing happening there. So we'll go not quickly so that you've got enough time to actually feel this all the way through it. And go ahead. Notice how the waist turns the right foot. Watch how you use the waist to turn over the left hand. We worked on this next bit a lot. Now here we go with brush knee. And again. Watch the way the motion plays out in the right hand and the left foot. So this kind of work we're doing is really important for actually making Tai Chi be an internal art. There's lots and lots of benefits to Tai Chi practice. I'm learning how to move more efficiently, learning where your weight is, because you're much less likely to slip on the ice and fall if you know where your weight is than if you put your weight someplace where you're not really aware of where it is. Getting all of the joints in the body moving, just breaking up adhesions and getting more mobility. There's lots and lots of benefits to Tai Chi. To get to the next level of the art, it needs to start actually becoming internal. You learn it externally. We tell you where to put your hands and your feet, where to point your waist. You're doing an external choreography, and you have to have that. You have to have the learned in great detail external choreography so that you know where the hands and feet are supposed to go. Now, the internal journey then is, how did you get them there? Why is that where they went? And in order to do that, you're going to have to understand first the physical changes that you're making in the center and the core, so that you really understand those, and watching how those can play out into the extremities, so that it actually causes this arm to turn over. And it causes it because I made a little extra motion in my hips. And so that's the beginning of the internal journey. What changes am I making on the inside in order to affect the change I want on the outside? You have to know what the change on the outside is. You have to learn the external choreography. And then you have to be willing to give up the force and striving and effort that you use to succeed at that external choreography, and instead understand what are the small physical changes I make inside in order to affect that choreography. And so that's one of the places where it's difficult to break through, because it requires tremendous relaxation, it requires real precision of movement, and it requires devotion to really understanding what's the physical change I make on the inside that results in that. Now, you'll notice I kept saying physical change you make on the inside. So the next level is, well, what made that physical change happen? What did I do awareness-wise and with chi energetically in order to affect that physical change at the center and the core that then played out through the body to the extremities, right? And, now we're getting into the deep, esoteric, internal. I'm sure there's much more beyond that. That's sort of the level that I'm personally working with, is what do I do energetically and with my awareness in order to get the change I want in the core, in order to have it play out into the hands. But so as you're working on this, you have to really understand what is the external choreography in super detail. This is not it. You got to actually have those little things. This is not it. It's got to actually be in front of the shoulder. And then, all that stuff, and that takes real study. Then you've got to figure out, how do I actually cause, not just synchronize with, but cause those external changes from a physical change in the center. And then you've got to start thinking about, why did that physical change happen? What did I do energetically and with my mind in order to have that physical change in the center be the right thing that happened so that it could play out to the hands? So that's really cool, right? That's easily a lifetime worth of practice. So we've got plenty ahead of us. Let's do one more first third. I won't talk. We'll just enjoy it. And then we'll call it a day. So, go ahead. 3 good breaths, letting go of any tension. And close. Great, so there's a bunch to work on in what we've shown this week. Take your time with it and work with it. We will record sessions next week, and so I think Thursday's the 24th, so we'll actually have a Thursday morning Christmas Eve session that, you can work with then or work with over the break. And we're then going to take a break for the week between Christmas and New Year's. And we will pick back up on January 3rd, I think it is, with a first Sunday for 2021. So enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you all again soon.